make a couple of recommendations for you as we enter into Advent. Advent is meant to be very much like Lent. It's not quite as seriously penitential as Lent is, but that's why the colors are the same as Lent, because Advent is a time of serious spiritual preparation. It's meant to be a time where we step up our prayer. We even do things like fasting and self denial so that we can be ready for the coming of Christ at Christmas. We do things like that because the more that I like self-denial, the more that I deny myself in those little areas of my life, I can make room for something else to take its place. And who's that something else? Jesus. Right? So a couple of recommendations for you to have a more spiritual Advent. 1, tomorrow night we are having our Advent reconciliation service over at St. Mary's at 7 p.m. There'll be like 9 priests gathered at the parish across town at 7 p.m. for all of you to experience reconciliation. Confession is a wonderful way to grow spiritually. It is. It's very good for us. So tomorrow night, confession. Just mark that and just encourage you to do that. And if you can't tomorrow night, I have confession here all kinds of different times. You can look them up. I'll meet with you. I'll come to your home, whatever you need. It'd be my honor to help make confession possible for you this Advent. Second thing, this coming weekend, we're having an Advent retreat. It'll begin Friday night and end Saturday night. And it's free, and anyone's welcome to come. We're bringing in a wonderful sister, Sister Miriam, and she's going to speak. I'm bringing in a wonderful friend of mine who's a great worship leader. We're going to have some awesome prayer. We're going to have some time for small group discussion. Come. You want to grow spiritually? Then come and devote yourself to spiritual things. Those of you who've been making the 33-day Marian consecration, we will end our Marian consecration retreat this coming Saturday night with a special Mass in which the consecration will take place. So at the end of the retreat, at 5 o'clock on Saturday, I'm having a vigil Mass for the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, and we will do the Marian consecration. So the retreat's not a consecration retreat, it's just an Advent retreat, but we're going to end the retreat with the Marian consecration. Okay? Excellent. A third thing I invite you to do during Advent, and it comes to us from the reading from Isaiah today. Isaiah gives one of my favorite Old Testament images. He says that in the days of the Lord, swords will be turned into plowshares. Swords will be turned into plowshares. I love that image. Do you know what a plowshare is? It took me a long time to learn what it is. A plowshare is the steel blade that is on a plow that when the plow goes through the dirt, it turns the dirt over. In other words, it's a plow. It's the steel part of the plow, right? So what's Isaiah saying? That when God is in our life, a sword, which is an instrument for destruction, for death, for pain, will be remolded into an instrument that's used for cultivation, something that gives life, that prepares for fruitfulness. Isn't that a wonderful image? So that which is destructive gets remolded into something that's life-giving. So, Advent reflection for you, very simply. What are the swords in your life that God desires to turn into a plowshare? Is there anything in your life that is destructive? What is it in your life that does not produce life? And it could be something within a relationship. It could be something in your own life spiritually, something you need to work on, something maybe you've been working on for years, right? What is the sword in your life? This Advent, I invite you to take that very seriously and invite God to reshape that. And when you think about a sword being turned into a plowshare, think of a blacksmith, right? The hot furnace and the pounding with the hammer. It sometimes requires a lot of hard work to turn that sword into a plowshare, but when it happens, it's worth it. Any of you who have gone through something where a Lord has worked a great work in your life, where you've overcome something difficult, you know that it's worth it. So just think about that. What's the sword in your life? So we're at Advent. We're this time of spiritual preparation. So, penance service, confession. Tomorrow night's an option, or talk to me, I'll make it happen for you. Retreat next weekend. You can come to any of it or all of it, right? And we'll finish our Marian consecration on Saturday evening. 3, what are the swords in your life that the Lord wishes to be turned into plowshares? And in the midst of all this, we walk with Mary. She is our great Advent biblical character we walk with. She is the woman who was very open and receptive to the Holy Spirit. She let God's ways be her ways. And so in the midst of this, stay close to Mary. She just wants to bring you to God. She wants God's ways to be your ways too. That we just imagine ourselves walking with her to Jesus. I wish you a very blessed and joy-filled Holy Advent.